Well, normally when you hear Spartans Athletic Director Bill Beekman on MSU Today, he's joined by President Stanley, and he's talking with all of his great coaches and some of the deans on campus. But today he's joining us just to sort of talk about how he and Spartan Athletics are adapting during these unprecedented times. Bill, welcome back.
Well, thanks so much, Russ. It's good to be back.
And, you know, Bill, before even Spartan Athletics, I think people are just interested. How is the Beekman family adjusting at home to this thing?
Well, it's interesting. My two oldest children are in college, so having them back for a protracted period of time has been fun. And then my youngest is a freshman in high school, so there's been a little bit of adjusting to having all five of us back under the same roof. But my youngest has implemented family game night, and in the competitive nature that is the Beekman household, there's a tally of who has won from night to night, and the competitive juices are flowing. Sadly, I am not at the top of the leaderboard. That would be my son Nick.
Yeah.
But
well,
we're trying to find interesting things to do.
You're right, Bill. My late father always used to say there's a plus in everything, and if sort of some increased family times comes out of this, all the better, I guess. So.
Yep, so we've been trying to make the best of it.
Yeah. So, Bill, what about Spartan Athletics then? How are you adapting, and in what ways?
It's been very sort of strange, but we're mostly living in a virtual environment as people are trying to be responsible and sort of stay holed up. And the phrase social distancing has taken on a whole new meaning over the last number of weeks. So we're mostly communicating by technology, and I am not a technology person. It's not my great strength. So I've been doing meetings by Zoom, meetings by Microsoft Teams, meetings by conference call. And spending it. I've got a nice office in my basement at home, and I've got my monitors from work set up on my desk. So I've got my multiple monitors and the phone, and it's mostly just working the phones and trying to stay in touch with everyone.
Yeah, and Bill, I understand you are, I guess, mostly by email, but you're staying in touch with your staff and your student athletes when you have updates, and I imagine. What are you sort of talking with your Big Ten and NCAA colleagues about?
Well, we have a conference call every morning, so far every weekday morning, with the Big Ten athletic directors, our new Big Ten commissioner, Kevin Warren, and his team. And we've been working through the issues that as they come up. So thinking about our response and our perspective on the NCAA's thinking on spring sports, and for all of those student athletes that didn't get to participate in spring sports this year, what do we do about that, if anything? Is there a solution to it that makes sense to allow those young people to have that opportunity or not? So we've been working through that set of issues. We've been thinking proactively about summer sports camps and then football after that, and what might happen and how we might respond to it. The NCAA has a while back came out with their first pass at settlement on the funds for the fourth quarter because of the lack of an NCAA basketball tournament. So working through that set of issues. So it's been really good to spend that time with the Big Ten athletic directors, Commissioner Warren and his team, to sort through those issues. And so that's usually the first meeting of my day. And then I have been staying in touch with our head coaches. That's occasional conference calls and then occasional one-on-one conversations as issues come up. And I've been trying to communicate more regularly with our student athletes. Usually I have breakfast with student athletes every other week, and what we call breakfast with Bill, and and we haven't obviously been able to do that recently. So trying to get out an email occasionally. In my last email, I made some reading recommendations. My wife laughed at me and asserted that college students were probably not interested in reading what I was interested in reading, but nevertheless, try to give them some sort of window into my world, and hopefully make theirs a little more entertaining as they struggle to to get through all of this.
Hopefully the favorite from your Madison days, the Federalist Papers, wasn't one of them, Bill.
No, it was not. Although sitting here in my office, I look across and I think I've got 3 copies of it on my bookshelf. But no, I recommended, among other selections, Tum Tum Nairn's book, which I found a lot of fun, and then a few other favorite authors.
Yeah. Well, Bill, I think it might be fun for listeners if you take them back a little bit, that crazy sort of 3-day period, March 11 to 13, that sort of began with sniffs that Rutgers and Michigan might not play in front of fans, and then 2 days later, though, basically the whole world is canceled. Can you just take us back a little bit on that?
You'll remember that we were scheduled to play, I believe, the 6 p.m. game on Friday, but I had Big Ten meetings down in Indianapolis on Wednesday afternoon. And early Wednesday, it became clear that I was probably better off sending some of my staff down to cover those Wednesday afternoon meetings, and I stayed home and worked through thinking through the issues that we thought were gonna come up, and so I stayed back on Wednesday to kick around the beginnings of the thinking about the coronavirus issues, and then on Thursday morning we had further meetings down in Indianapolis, and so I hopped in my car. And on the way down, I got on a conference call with the presidents and chancellors of the Big Ten because President Stanley was covering issues on campus, and so I filled in for him. And it became clear that they were beginning to think about should we hold the tournament. And then got on the phone with a second call with our Big Ten athletic directors and the commissioner. And I think between those 2 meetings, I found my way down about to just this side of Fort Wayne and pulled off the road and did a U-turn and started heading back because it became clear to me that it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that to the great credit of the athletic directors, the university presidents in the Big Ten, and Commissioner Warren, that was at a point where much earlier in this process, before sort of things had gone to heck, and I think they made the right decision, and after they made that decision, they were sort of in the midst of a cascade, a sort of a tidal wave of other conferences reaching the same conclusion, and then literally within 48 hours later, the NCAA tournament had been canceled, and I think it was. Probably it might have been that same day on Friday.
What a whirlwind!
And yes, and and you just feel so sad. I mean, it's just tragic that all these young people who have worked so very hard don't get those opportunities to compete, and yet in some ways it feels small in comparison to the life and death issues that so many people around the country are facing with. Loved ones in nursing homes they can't visit, and loved ones in hospitals on ventilators, and all those kinds of things. And so, while we worry about athletics, we also have to keep in mind the context that it's sort of the icing on the cake, and we got to worry about the cake.
Well said, Bill. Spartans athletic director Bill Beekman with me on MSU Today. And Bill, I think, though, you're still, again, electronically and through the technology, still providing a lot of the services to your student athletes remotely, right? From the homework assistance to the strength and conditioning and everything else.
Absolutely. So we've got students literally spread all over the world. Spartan athletes come to us from places like Korea, Japan, Spain, South America, and of course, obviously, students that still live right here in East Lansing. And so whether they're here in East Lansing continuing to live in our on-campus housing, or whether they're on the other side of the world, we're trying to electronically make sure they're all well taken care of. And so we've got tutoring via Zoom and other electronic mechanisms because, of course, they're all still in school,
right.
Just doing that remotely.
Most of your athletes very good students too as well. And Bill, I think we talked about the benefits of this, maybe some increased family time, and I think you're seeing that for your coaches too, who are very busy people, and now they get to recharge a little bit. But as our new football coach Mel Tucker has said, when we return, we will be relentless.
Absolutely, yes. And that's one thing I've really strongly encouraged our coaches to do, is to spend a little time. And I think for some of them it's very, very difficult because they have one speed, and it's charging ahead. And but trying to find some time. I think Coach Izzo was working on cleaning out the sock drawer the other week, and so we've got trying to get them to slow down just a little bit and find the silver lining in this horrible cloud, and spend a little time with family, maybe watch a little less film, and take a deep breath, and hopefully they'll have an opportunity to do that. So, as Coach Tucker says, when we're back, we're firing on all cylinders and relentlessly progressing ahead.
And Bill, appreciate the update on all things Spartan Athletics. And just before I let you go again, just any final thoughts? What do you want people to be thinking about Spartan Athletics as we move through some very unprecedented times?
Well, I just say to our wonderful world of supporters that Spartan Athletics will be back. We'll be back stronger than ever. We're very excited about the fall and the upcoming year, but that immediately I just encourage people to follow the advice that they're getting on TV from the Centers for Disease Control and the experts, and stay inside, stay home, don't be tempted, and let's all get through this together and come out the other side, and we can celebrate that. But we need to take care of business now and make sure everybody stays healthy.
Again, well said. Thank you, Bill, and thanks for joining us on the show again.
Thanks so much, Russ.
That's Michigan State University Spartans Athletic Director Bill Beekman, and I'm Russ White. Thanks for listening to MSU Today.